Hello YouTubers, welcome back to another video of me, Adam Well Informed. The Tesla Model 3 was the best-selling EV in Europe and the second best-selling car in the UK for the year 2021. The Tesla Model 3 is hands down changing the perceptions of owning an electric vehicle, not just in the UK, but in Europe, in the US, in China and around the world. I've owned my Tesla Model 3 for just over a year now, and I fully understand the hype and why there's just so much love for it. Most people will know after just a few drives that they've made the right decision, but every now and again I get this sinking feeling like I finally found a major flaw. Like, can that be right? Is anyone else prone to just jumping to conclusions like me? I accuse my wife all the time of moving things around, when in reality I've just moved it unconsciously. Anyway, for most of these Model 3 issues I thought I faced, and at that particular moment what I'd actually done was simply jump to conclusions. Soon after, I realised that there is a simple explanation for these so-called issues that I was facing, and over time, ownership just really exposes you to more of these situations and just a general know-how of electric cars and how Tesla cars operate. Now, I follow a number of different Tesla user-generated sources. I browse through the Tesla forums, I follow Tesla Facebook groups, heck, I love watching fellow Tesla YouTubers too. Yet some of the struggles the newer owners face can be repetitive issues that have been experienced before, and they're questioned time and time again. I think owners like myself probably take for granted what we've learned ourselves over time. Heck, we were all first time owners once too. Yet, I still see some of these repetitive questions pop up online. So I thought it'd be a great time to deliver some reassurance to you guys and hopefully answer some of the most popular misconceptions of the Tesla Model 3 ownership model. And this is all before you start spamming the forums or socials with already asked questions, etc. So overall, I feel this is a great time for me to give back to you so you don't get yourself into a panic, as you'll be in the know in advance, or you'll be well informed in advance. Did you get that reference? Well informed? Wow, that was a bit awkward. I do really need to get out more, don't I? Moving on from that, I've set out 5 misconceptions to really help manage your expectations on certain topics like range and phantom drain. So it's time to dump the intro, but before we get started, I'd highly appreciate it if you could hit the like button, the subscribe button, and that notification bell if you approve of content like this, or if you want more content like this. Such a small gesture really does help me out. Don't forget to also follow my socials and Ecom Calc socials in the description below. Closed beta invites for Ecom Calc have just started to roll out. Invites have been staggered at this stage, however, there's still a few places left, so if you want to partake in the beta, don't hesitate to take a look at the video on the screen now to find out how you can participate. The very first truth you should understand is Tesla's evolution in its existing vehicles that you order today is nothing short of outstanding. Within a year, for the cheapest Tesla Model 3 that you can buy, being the base standard range plus Model 3, or now known as just the rear-wheel drive Tesla Model 3, they've upgraded the battery, which has made it more hard-wearing and way easier to maintain, but also taking the WLTP rated range from 270 to the 300s. They've incorporated a heated steering wheel and activated backseat heaters by default, started including floor mats for delivery, included the same MCU processing unit combined with the GPU from the Tesla Model S and Tesla Model X, which is as powerful as a PS5 chip. They've ditched the old lead-acid 12-volt battery for a more reliable 12-volt lithium-ion battery that probably won't need to be replaced for a very, very long time. I could go on and on, but the key point is almost every month there is a revision to the Tesla Model 3 spec to some degree. I think some of you will then make the conscious decision to wait for the latest revision so you get the best Tesla Model 3 on the market. That's obviously the right thing to do, isn't it? Well, yes, but no. Whilst you have the latest and greatest Model 3 you can buy, by the following month, that Tesla Model 3 that was delivered after yours will probably have new and improved features. So the harsh reality here is that most of those changes aren't going to be listed for a retrofit, probably ever. Tesla has such a wide pool of owners that's ever growing, especially for the mass-produced Tesla Model 3s and Tesla Model Ys. To those current owners demanding every new feature should be retrofitted, it just can't happen, period. You have to remember, whilst you have you have to remember whilst you have the same car, the fundamentals will generally be the same. Another advantage you've got, and the advantage that I definitely got, was actually we paid less than the latest Model 3 owners. Like, I got mine for about £2,500 cheaper than today's prices, plus I didn't have to wait 5 months for delivery. You have to consider for every retrofit Tesla completes, that is time taken away from a user that actually generally needs a service request to fix an issue that needs real attention. The moral of the story is there's always going to be a variant of your Tesla that will be better than yours. Retrofits should be kept to the minimum and utilised where Tesla have capacity to service. I'd be lying to myself if I said I didn't want some of these latest features retrofitted. The difference is I now assume it's not going to happen, and if it does, it's an absolute bonus, but I'm fully under the impression that I won't gain them features ever, unless it can be updated over the air by a software update. The second harsh reality I want to discuss is your range and winter driving. This is potentially the most frequent question that I see dotted around, particularly when first taking delivery. Usually on the lines of their Tesla states that they have X miles at 100% and it actually should be higher at Y miles, as if the car definitely should display and deliver the rated range on the screen in every scenario, or at least display the rated range when at 100% from the start. Just consider an ICE car in this situation too. When you put an EV through different conditions, your real world range will yield you a different result from the different conditions that you're facing on that given day, which can surpass or actually eradicate the displayed range anyway. I got some awesome efficiency in the summer. I achieved around 160 watt-hour miles during some just general urban city driving scenarios. If we do the quick maths in that and repeated the journey depleting the battery from full, I would have achieved something like 300 miles, which will be way over my rated WLTP rated range, whereas in the winter, you will not hit that rated range on your average commute. If you read the Model 3 manual, boring, I know, they actually stipulate the remaining range on your screen, which is estimated based on the remaining battery energy and the EPA rated range. So if you bought your car and you were expecting the WLTP range to be displayed on your screen from day one, that's just not going to happen. It's absolute cap when someone also says that the car takes into account your driving style. As I said before, at face value, you may feel robbed here, but the simple explanation is that it may just be displaying the EPA rated range over your expectations for WLTP, or it's formulated based on the remaining energy. You have to consider that doesn't take into account external conditions either. So if you're not achieving the WLTP rated range, there's probably a wider explanation for it, whether that is temperature or velocity related. Your petrol or diesel car would be exactly the same during similar conditions. Another point to consider is that the average daily commute is only around 10 miles a day, and most of us then recharge overnight, or at least have the facilities to. So a small discrepancy in the formula of a handful of miles just isn't going to be felt on a day-to-day basis by the average daily driver. Despite that, I can actually propose a solid solution for you here, and I've always advised any new owner to do this, and that is to convert your range remaining on your display to battery percentage and just treat your car similar to a smartphone. Charge it every night like you would do your smartphone. Don't just sit there and panic about the car's displayed range. Chances are it will be absolutely fine for what you need, and when it's in a percentage, you actually just don't overthink the range here, as range by percentage is actually definitive. In a worst case scenario, your Tesla Model 3 should actually notify you if you have any hardware issues impacting your range excessively, as per the manual. Though if the issue is prevalent, do go down the service route, as sometimes you just know something isn't quite right. The third reality has to be planning your way through any range anxiety that you may have. I think it's fair to say every brand new owner of an EV will feel some range anxiety before taking your car on that very first road trip. After you survive it, you realise you've overthought it again and you've exaggerated the whole range issue in your head. It's a normal occurrence, and your confidence after that first positive road trip will really change your perceptions. My biggest hack to those people that are a bit more range risk adverse or do worry about trip planning is to download the following apps on your smartphone right now. That is a Better Route Planner and ZapMap. I have no affiliation with these apps, I'm just a huge fan. I've been consistent on these apps as an EV owner for a long time. These apps really take the stress out of trip planning by simulating charging facilities for a whole journey. In particular, if you use a better route planner, it's like an EV charging equivalent of Google navigation. So if you drive spontaneously, just input your destination, input your starting percentage, and it will do all the hard work and predict your outcome. You can even find local level 2 chargers around your destination if you want to make that return trip extra easy by starting with a fuller battery maybe. What I'm trying to promote for this point is, with these apps you can find confidence in their charging infrastructure and make trip choices much easier if you're not around, in particular the car navigation. The fourth ownership reality is phantom drain. If you're not aware what this is, it's when the car is consuming battery power whilst idle. Think of it when your computer is in sleep mode. Its power consumption is minimal but optimized for quick startup, just like your PC. If you use Sentry mode, then it will consume more power than usual, and that's because it's powering 4 cameras around the car and recording that footage on a loop. My own experience is that will consume around 1 to 1.5% almost every couple of hours, and if you use the cabin protection setting, this will draw cold air from the HVAC when the interior is experiencing excessive heat. Without these activated, you should realistically see your battery percentage drop approximately 1% a day if left unattended for a whole 24-hour period. Don't bother checking the mobile app either, as this will beat the car and consume a small amount of energy again. Personally, I left my car for over a week last year. If you want to see how you can optimize your car for a long period of time, or if you want to know the percentage of battery that I lost over that time, I'll put a video link on the screen. Just click on the bar at the top of the screen if you want to view that video. As I mentioned before, if you're preheating or pre-cooling, using Sentry mode, using cabin protection, checking the app regularly, these are all things that will consume power. Usually it's small and relatively unnoticeable unless they're used for a long period of time. In particular, Sentry mode can be a drain, but through day-to-day usage, if you're charging your car every night, that 5 to 8% drop in your average day, you're just not going to notice that. You can also amend the settings to have it deactivated by default in certain locations. Maybe that's your home when it's in the garage, or maybe you park it in a secure car park for working purposes, and you can change the settings in the car so it automatically turns off as a preset at those locations. Alternatively, you can deactivate this in or out of the car using the app if your day plans out differently than you initially intended it to. Overall, some drain is fine and it should be expected. You can manage that drain over time with the tools that you have. However, if you think your drain is excessive, then Tesla service should hopefully be your friend here and give you that helping hand. The final ownership reality, many of you already know actually, and that's the strong community know-how. If something is an issue and you're concerned about it, get yourself onto a Tesla forum, one of the Facebook groups. Personally, I tend to stick to the forums, but don't forget to use the search functions with the forum, or to use the search functions in a Facebook group to see if the answer is already at your fingertips. I swear almost every day at the end of last quarter, someone's popping up and saying they were missing their front USBs. Should that be a thing? Like, what's going on? They should have been told by Tesla that they will be retrofitted when supply issues have subsided. I had a similar experience myself. My side repeater camera was part of a faulty batch of cameras, but I was told that very issue even before I took delivery. And then a few weeks later, when the cameras were back in stock, I was prompted to book a service. A Ranger came out in a Model S and fitted the new camera in just a few minutes. Anyway, back to my point. Some of the folks on these groups have knowledge that exceed my knowledge and exceed some Tesla staff members. They're just a real asset to the community. It's okay to ask and pursue questions, but just ensure you've done a search beforehand, because I know the moderators can get a little bit cranky if the question has already been answered in a different thread. If you're just interested in looking at Tesla news and you want a reliable source, then Twitter is generally a place for reliable Tesla news. If you're looking to be one step ahead of the news, there's an individual called Sawyer Merritt. I'll pop his Twitter profile in the description below. He's a really good candidate if you just want to start following some breaking news, and the rest I think you'll find out along the way. So to conclude, I hope this hasn't come across as a rant. That was far from what I wanted to achieve. My intentions for this video were to reassure and hopefully lay out some clarity to existing owners, but also manage some expectations of some upcoming buyers. If you know exactly what you're getting into, there'll be no hidden surprises and you won't jump to conclusions and consider something to be a fault. And like I said before, there's usually a simple explanation for everything. That's it from me this week. I hope that was helpful. If you got this far in the video and you're not sure what to comment on, simply comment the phrase winter range and I'll drop you a cheeky thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, like the video, share this video with your friends and family. Thanks for tuning in. It's always appreciated. I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.